Okay, so in this video, I'm gonna do the battery test of the Galaxy Tab A9 Plus that I bought about a month ago. Now, this is also a 5G variant, the 8GB, 128GB model, and it does come with the Snapdragon 695 processor. This is a very efficient processor, I know, and it doesn't heat up. That's all great, but what's gonna be the battery life with this 7040 mAh battery-powered Galaxy Tab? With only 15 watts of wired charging, I will also see the charging speed too at the end. But before doing anything, I will show you that it is gonna be on mobile data all the time, but also the brightness is gonna be mostly on the higher side, which in normal day-to-day life, you're not gonna have that much high brightness. So it's something like I'm putting too much stress on this device just to see how much minimum of battery life you can expect if you push this device, because most of the time, you're not gonna do that as much. So you're gonna have much better battery life than this. But I'm gonna start the video with YouTube for almost an hour. And this time it's gonna have the full brightness and the speaker is at the loudest. And it also consuming its own 5G data. So yeah, it's not connected to Wi-Fi or it's not a downloaded video. And after that 15 minutes, it's now at 69% battery. And then I started playing YouTube music for a little more than an hour and a half. At that point, it was still consuming its mobile data, but the screen was off and the speaker volume was at the max. And in that whole period of time, it consumed 20% of its juice. That means it's now at 49%. And then I started doing something different. I started playing videos on YouTube, but right beside it, I'm actually browsing on Chrome, which I actually did for literally 1 hour. And that took it all the way from 49% to 32%. It's still very healthy battery life though. It has 2 hours, a little 2 hours of screen on time for the YouTube only, about 56 minutes for the Chrome, and the YouTube music, even though it was running in the background, but in the foreground, it only had 4 minutes of screen on time. So the screen off time for YouTube music would still be somewhere 1 hour and 30 minutes or so. Next, I started playing a game. Like, I didn't want it to have a very heavy game on it, but just a light game that just runs fine on it. And I played that game for quite a bit of time. And about an hour later, after playing this game, it's now at 16%. The tab is almost about to hit the 15% mark. But the thing is, it didn't get hot at all, even though it's winter season, I know, but the temperature wasn't even there where I can say it's concerning. No, nothing at all. This is amazing, and yet it's still consuming its own data. Now you can also see all of that stats too on this battery page, where you can see the 2 hours, 4 minutes on YouTube. The game is Hungry Shark. It's 58 minutes screen on time, 1 hour of Chrome. And as I said about the YouTube music, it was running in the background. Next thing I did is actually call. I did call myself on my other phone for 30 minutes, but that 30-minute call did almost nothing to this battery. It's just only 2% drain, which is negligible. And I really like that fact that 695, even though it's not that powerful processor, but it's very efficient in these kind of tasks. And then I really wanted to kill the battery. So for that, I started off using YouTube in pop-up window. So it's actually really helpful on this One UI tablets. So I can watch something, and I'm also started drawing on Samsung Notes, which is something kind of similarly like if you're using it as a note application while watching something on YouTube as a tutorial. And that lasted not that long. I mean, in about 20 minutes, it's now at 5%. So that's concerning. And when it was at 4%, then I started replaying all of those musics again on YouTube music. But this time the screen was actually on most of the time because I was continuously checking up on it, whether it's dying or not. And the 2% or 1% battery actually stayed like way more than the 5% or 4% did, or even 3% did, which is funny, but it also stayed on at 0%. And then it died at 7:11 p.m., which means that 5% battery lasted for 14 minutes or so. But in that period, I also noticed that it lowered down the brightness, usual Samsung One UI thing, but also the CPU speed was limited by a lot, which means even the music wasn't trying to play properly in DeX mode. So overall, what's the time I got? If I look at the time I started and then the time it ended, it's actually 5 hours and 55 minutes. So give or take, it's 6 hours. And yes, I did push it too much, like the 5G data highest brightness and all these things. But do consider this thing. This kind of tablets lasting this long is fine, because in normal day-to-day usage, it might even last way longer than that if you live with it very cautiously. So in this period, the screen off usage was actually 2 hours of 6 minutes, which means the screen on time in this whole period was close to 3 hours and 50 minutes. Yeah, that's reality. So that will give you a rough idea about what kind of battery life you can expect from a tablet like this, at least from Samsung. Next is charging test. So I plugged it in with the Samsung's 15-watt charger because it does support only 15 watts at the max. And I started at 7:16 p.m. and 30 minutes later, it's at 20% only. Then 1 hour later, it's actually at 44%, which is kind of weird to think about, like how slow it does charge. I mean, like Samsung could have used a 25-watt max charging capability in this, but no, they didn't. And literally at 9:52 p.m., it's at 98%. And it literally reached to that 100% mark by almost 10 or 5 p.m., which means it took quite a lot of time, about 2 hours 51 minutes or so. That's disappointing. Let me know about your thoughts in the comment section below. What you think and what kind of experience you are getting with your kind of usage, which might or might not be as intensive as mine, or more than that. And yes, if you feel like you need some really cool wallpapers for your devices, whether it's a tablet or a smartphone or even a laptop, well, I have some crazy cool 8K wallpapers, stunning designs, and amazing colors. Visit my website, joindavid.com, link down below. And until the next one, bye and take care.